Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for extreme overwhelm. And I was working with a client that had multiple difficulties regarding health, job, living arrangements, like so many different things all happening at exactly the same time. Now, that would be challenging for anyone, but in this particular client's case, it was evidence that historical issues were also having a negative impact on their feelings of resourcefulness. So they were still having emotions linked to things that had happened a long time ago. So in this session, I utilize a metaphor of movement. So rather than walking through quicksand or walking through sludge, there's an idea of effortlessly floating and rowing on top of a river. So that has a representation of effortless progress, if that makes sense. It requires a lot of effort to kind of walk through a swamp, but to glide on the surface of a river is fairly effortless. There's also a metaphor of a pressure cooker. A pressure cooker, I think intuitively most people get the sense of overwhelm, that if a pressure cooker is at full pressure, you need to release that pressure. And that's why many people drink, overeat, take drugs, because they're trying to release and deal with overwhelming pressure. But it's only a temporary release before you're reminded of all these different things that need to be done. And then the pressure goes all the way back up. So this was about releasing historical pressure and stress and all the emotions of the past. But also there's a third key component to this hypnosis session, which is associating into the time of their life where they felt most resourceful, proportionate to their demands. And if you think about what overwhelm really is, overwhelm is where you feel that the demands on your life exceed your ability to cope, exceed your resources. Those resources could be money, time, energy, mental capacity. But if the demands exceed the resources, overwhelm and feeling like the game isn't winnable is just a natural side effect of that particular feeling. Whereas if you feel highly resourceful and stress-free, it's not the absence of demands in your life, but more that your resources exceed the demands. And then you've got this feeling of being capable and able to exceed any kind of issues that are going on. If you are dealing with excessive stress or overwhelm or feeling like, the smallest thing could kind of give you a breakdown, there is the possibility for you to click a link in the show notes to schedule a free 30-minute consultation call with me to explore what it would be like to work with me. For now, though, what would be really helpful is to see if this session, which is linked to the idea of stress and overwhelm and resourcefulness, is beneficial for you. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, Breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, feel like you're drifting into a lovely feeling of resourceful relaxation. That's it. As you slow down your breathing, notice you can breathe deeper in and you can breathe deeper out. But imagine as you breathe in, there's a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness. And as you exhale, just allow any feeling of tension, worry or stress to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. You could imagine perhaps pressure has been building up for a while now. And I want you to imagine on that outward breath, you're releasing that pressure. And feel in your body evidence of the release of that pressure. Maybe muscles in your neck or your shoulders, as you breathe out, starting to loosen. Eyelids feeling heavier. That's it. Breathe in and breathe out, almost like a transfusion is taking place. Breathing in resources and letting go of feelings of overwhelm and stress. Really feeling like it's leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a version of you when you were 21 years old. Going from a place of stress and chaos, perhaps to a place of connection, opportunity, and tranquility. And I want you to imagine looking at that 21-year-old version of you with so much capability and potential. Maybe you can see that version of you walking by a riverbank. And I want you to notice how you walked. It wasn't a heavy feeling of walking, it was free and flowing. You can tell from your facial expression there is capability, a feeling of resourcefulness integrated into the very DNA of this version of you. And maybe every now and then you took a break and just sat on a bench or lied on the grass, maybe looking at the architecture of the incredible buildings or the slow-moving river. And I want you to imagine taking a walk from this slow-moving river to a different part of the river where it's possible to row. I want you to imagine seeing a rowing boat. And I want you to imagine that you're now stepping into that resourceful version of you, feeling the way you felt when you were 21 years old. All the stresses of life hadn't accumulated at that point. There was just a young, vibrant version of you with incredible resources and demands well within your capabilities. And I want you to imagine climbing into that body and feeling this wonderful feeling of resourcefulness and feeling light, feeling fluid, that you can flow. And imagine climbing into that canoe, that boat. Imagine wearing whatever clothing is appropriate to be on the river. And I want you to feel the incredible power of the leverage in the same way that being on a cycle, the same effort can take you further. Being on a boat, as you start to row, you can feel yourself being propelled forwards. Each effort that you make makes more and more progress. And even if you were to stop rowing, you would continue to flow, move forward on the surface of that river. But I want you to imagine that you found a rhythm. Maybe it's a certain stroke, a certain way of moving forward. And imagine you've hit such a rhythm that you can just go inwards and do it all by itself. In the same way that you can walk without thinking about walking, I want you to imagine you're rowing without thinking about rowing, feeling the effortless progress being made. And as you do that, I want you to imagine whatever comes to mind when I say pressure cooker. As you're rowing on the surface, imagine a pressure cooker. And imagine a pressure cooker being brand new. There is no pressure in the cooker. And therefore, it operates completely fine. But I want you to imagine, year after year, more and more pressure was accumulated into this cooker, but never released, not properly. And I want you to imagine that year after year, things have happened and emotions have built up to the point that your pressure cooker is full. Sometimes it can feel like you're walking through life like you're wading through quicksand. It takes so much effort to feel like you're making no progress or limited progress. But let's imagine that we can release that pressure cooker. Not by eating food or drinking alcohol. I want you to imagine that we can release the pressure by letting go of the emotions of the past. And that's it. Feel like you're flowing on the surface of a river, holding an image of a pressure cooker, and imagine there is a valve at the very base. And as I give you certain suggestions, ideas about letting go of these emotions, just imagine the valve is released and that pressure is released. And imagine that as the pressure is released, you flow even more effortlessly on the surface of that river. You could ignore any suggestions that don't apply, but those that do really feel like it's releasing the pressure from that valve. Breathing in and breathing out. And I want you to scan your body for any feelings of emotional weight. And maybe it's overwhelm or stress. Maybe there's things that annoyed you or made you angry. Not just recently, but go back years. There might be emotional weight that you're holding on to from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Scan your body for any clues of the emotional weight. Maybe resentment. Someone did something you disagreed with and you're still holding on to that. Maybe frustration. Things that should have been resolved by now but aren't. And I want you to imagine you're turning the valve of that pressure cooker and releasing pent-up pressure accumulated over years. And as you imagine turning that valve, scan your body for where you feel that emotional weight within you. And I want you to feel like a weight lifting from your shoulders as you release that emotional pressure, leaving you lighter and freer. Imagine how good it would feel to let go of past events that have been burdening you, like a millstone around your neck. And imagine it's time to let them go, allowing them to flow away like leaves on a stream. And maybe, as you imagine being on that boat, feel a heavy weight in the boat that you just tip overboard, feeling the boat lighter and seeing leaves on the stream just go away, representing things you're finally willing to leave behind. Embrace the sensation of your life energy being restored, revitalizing your spirit and rejuvenating your sense of self. Imagine reconnecting with that 21-year-old version of you, so resourceful, able to deal with problems quickly, being decisive. Feel that your inner batteries are recharging, gaining strength and resilience with each passing moment. Or maybe you can imagine a reset button within you. Maybe a button inside your mind, inside your body, and imagine pressing that reset button where you can start anew, free from the burdens of the past. Recognizing that you are naturally decisive, a leader who approaches life's challenges with fairness, efficiency, and resourcefulness. And as you reconnect with that old identity, the true version of you, feel that deep sense of confidence in your decision-making abilities, knowing that you can trust your judgment without any second guessing or regret. Feel how good it feels to awaken that decisiveness. And as you do so, picture yourself in the future with different coping strategies to deal with stress and overwhelm. See yourself nourishing your body with natural foods, firm in the belief that the more foods that you eat that are natural and nutritious, the more you're giving your body the resources it needs to deal with a stressful life. But also, see that future version of you with the belief that drinking water dilutes stress. This future version of you doesn't need to drink wine to release the pressure, when you can see yourself drinking water to dilute the stress and the overwhelm, enabling you to see the wood for the trees, being more decisive, unlocking the resources to solve problems, make decisions, which releases even more pressure. Feel how good it would feel to enjoy self-care, doing things just for you that recharge your batteries, let go of stress, understanding it's the cornerstone of your well-being and resilience. Scan your body for any tension and release any tension in your body and mind, allowing every muscle to relax and every thought to become more tranquil. As you imagine rowing on that river, notice how calm and serene the surface of the river is. You've already allowed heavy emotions and stress to flow away, and allow your mind to feel like that calm and serene river. Before, it was like a turbulent ocean in the storm, but now connect with a feeling of it being calm and serene. And in this place, notice how easier it is to feel like you can make good decisions, have clarity on thoughts, and to prioritize whatever needs to be prioritized. You are rowing this boat in the direction you choose to, and you can do the same thing in life, moving away from the life you don't want and taking it towards the life you do want. And the more you do that, the more you connect with that leader within you, knowing you are a beacon of integrity, fairness, and justice. You're not being difficult. You are looking for win-win outcomes, things that solve the problem and involve people in the process. You have the outcome in mind, a future that's good for you and good for the people around you. Because you see yourself as a resourceful problem solver, taking pride in your ability to overcome obstacles and challenges rather than a source of overwhelm and stress. These are like toys and games that you get to play with. Because imagine if you saw stress and overwhelm as opportunities for growth and transformation, knowing that you emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient from each experience. Think back in your life and think of how many complex problems you've solved, how much adversity you've already overcome, and acknowledge that you have the inner strength to let go of the past and embrace the present moment with clarity and confidence. And then picture that future version of you, not 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, but 3 years from now. I want you to see a version of you that has got through this hectic period in your life. I want you to see a version of you that the health issues have been resolved, the living issues have been resolved. You're thriving in your career. Your body weight is the body weight you desire. The relationships and friendships you have are at that optimal level. And I want you to get a sense that all of this future comes from letting go of the anchors, millstones, and baggage of the past, to free up resources to deal with problems in the present, to feel like you can remove half of those spinning plates, to just focus on the spinning plates that actually need to be focused on now. And immediately it feels like you're no longer walking through quicksand. You're flowing on the surface of a river. Every decision makes progress. Every problem solved makes progress. And before you know it, you are effortlessly gliding on the surface of that river towards this very future you desire. Perfection is misery. Progress is happiness. Every good decision is progress. Every collaboration is progress. Forgiving people from the past mistakes is progress. Letting go of the heaviness of resentment and regret is progress. And all of these things you're already doing or have done or can do imminently, building momentum, moving you forward. And as you move forward, everything else seems like it's a bit more easier than it did before. And then re-look at that pressure cooker in your mind, and that pressure gauge that was on the dangerously red level before is now all the way down to a comfortable green level. This pressure cooker is no longer in danger of exploding. There is no need for alcohol or distraction or overeating to release the valve of the pressure. You've already done that by letting go of the emotions of the past. And in doing so, you can now see the wood for the trees. Every step forward feels like you're genuinely making progress, giving you the time and mental clarity to make difficult decisions that enable you to make even more progress. I want you to imagine that you see a natural place to leave the boat, pull up by the side of the bank, surrounded by beautiful nature, feeling like your batteries are recharged, feeling that you're optimistic about the future, deeply believing and trusting your ability to solve problems, make decisions, and make progress in your life. And sometimes all you need to do to make progress is to have that glass of water instead of that glass of wine. Have that piece of fruit or that nutritious food rather than snacking or emotional eating. It all represents progress. And then feel like you're returning to the present, but still connected with that resourceful, optimistic, decisive 21-year-old version of you that is still within you now, as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, as very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, confident, decisive, but most of all feeling that you've let go of the pressure you've been carrying. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.